All right, so I want to record this video real quick because getting a bit ready for a busy day tomorrow in Fresno, and I really want to talk about three different articles that I found in the news I thought would be interesting. So, just to highlight what we got going on tomorrow in Fresno, we're going to go check out one of our complexes or buildings that we purchased probably 2 or 3 months ago. It's four little houses. They've now been vacated. Right, we gave 6-day notice. They had to vacate and move. Now we can go in and start the remodel and turn these pretty rundown houses into spectacular rentals. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I plan to take some video tomorrow. We'll see how that turns out. We're also going to go see our downtown charmer. There's actually a video on that in this video stack, sort of see how that looks like. We're probably, hopefully, only a week or so away from getting that one done. I need to sign some paperwork with escrow on a couple of different sales. Hopefully going to be meeting a team member down there, and then I'll have a list of properties to go see. So a big full day tomorrow. Hope to create some videos and see what's going on. So besides that, I want to talk about three different articles. The first one is from the National Real Estate Online. The title was Apartment Rentals. Apartment rentals now make up a larger share of new housing units in the U.S. than they have in decades. So that title caught my attention. I actually expected to read something different than I had. But basically the gist of the article was, historically speaking, luxury apartments and apartment units in general made up about 10%. And now they're making up roughly 25%. So quite a big difference. But I actually expected it to be even different. However, this is probably telling us some things, right? If new housing units are down, but apartment units are up, there's obviously a demand out there. It's obviously all around affordability and whatnot. There's two things that I sort of think about this. First and foremost, if you can go buy or create, as I'm doing, sort of affordable rental units that are houses and keep the price point at or maybe just slightly above a luxury apartment, I believe we're going to be in good shape. That's what I've always tried to do. That's what I recommend other investors do. Right, so let's just put some numbers on. Let's just say a luxury apartment is $1,000. If you can do an affordable house for like $1,250, you're going to be in really good shape, right? And again, you can scale these rates for wherever you are, but just keep them close. Why is that? Because I believe fundamentally that eventually people are going to want to have a yard, right? They want to call their own shots. They want to have a dog. They want to do these things that just aren't as easy to do in an apartment building. Now, there may be years or the early part of their 20s where they're okay living in an apartment. But history tells me eventually that that's just got to stop, and they're going to want a yard. They're going to have multiple cars. They're going to want to store stuff in their garage. It's just all these other things. So again, I think it's a good omen to buy these affordable housing. Because again, if you can keep that just above a price point, just above a luxury apartment, I think you're going to win long term. So the next one from the Wall Street Journal, of all places, it says, big jump in Americans saying renting is cheaper than owning. I say, no kidding. Right? We've probably been this way for quite a while. This article referenced Freddie Mac a couple of different times as sort of sponsoring this. But again, most of this is about home ownership. Most of this is around, they reference San Francisco, New York, and LA in the article. It's, again, the high price markets. It absolutely doesn't make sense to own something. Certainly first time buyers can't afford. So it's I don't know what these people are trying to say, right? They're trying to spread the gospel that buying a home is bad and renting is good. It's just not affordable, guys. In the high price markets, don't buy, right? If you got to live there because of work or whatever, if you don't own your home already, renting is okay. But what you should be doing by saving is you should be buying, I think I did a video called Rent Vesting a few videos ago. It's basically rent, pick on San Francisco, rent in San Francisco, but the money you save, invest in, Fresno, right, where I am, because you need assets. You can't just keep saving your way. Right? You're not going to save your way to financial freedom. And eventually you're going to want to at least start buying assets, right? If you rent forever in San Francisco or New York or LA or Orange County, great. But you need to be buying assets because when you get older like me and you get closer to retirement, you want to have those assets at your disposal. So yes, renting is a better option in expensive cities. And if you've been watching this channel for any length of time, I believe in that. So the third and final article is from Vox. It says, Millennials prioritize owning a home over getting married and having kids. So I found this article interesting because a lot of the talk track around millennials is that they don't want to own a home, right? They want to rent forever. And a couple of things I found interesting that I don't think that we don't make the connection to. First and foremost, the millennial generation probably was scarred the most by the financial collapse we had in 2008, right? They were right at that age where they really couldn't do anything about it, but they suffered a lot of the pain when their families were under stress, right? When their family lost a home or their family was evicted, or even if the family lost a job, right? That was a great recession, sucked for everyone. Even if none of that stuff happened for you, it was still a horrible time. So they were right at that age in feeling it. And that's probably going to scar them for quite a while and delay some things. Another thing I thought was interesting is the article talked about most millennials think that you have to save 20% for a down payment, which is interesting because that's absolutely not true. There's lots of 3% and 5% down programs out there. So if I was a bank and I wanted to sort of perk up my loan demand, I would create a loan program for millennials. You probably have to be careful how you word that because I'm sure there's some laws and regulations that you can't do this or that for different generations. So maybe you just generate a millennials education or millennials home ownership training or something like that, because you got to show them that there's a better way. Now, still, I wouldn't tell a millennial to buy a house in San Francisco. It's crazy, but there's lots of other markets where it does make sense, and I think that's something they could do. The other one it talks about is student debt. I forget the number. It was right around $32,000 was the average student debt, and that was sort of a reason they couldn't buy a home. I find that a little bit interesting, right? I actually expected it to be higher, frankly, right? Because the other thing I think we've done to this age group is education is a lot more expensive. When I left school, let's just call it 3 decades ago, maybe two and a half decades ago, I left with just about that much. Actually, probably more. Probably was $45,000. But I had a undergrad and a MBA in that. So it's just interesting that somehow the 32 grand in student debt is preventing folks. I don't know what those payments are. They're probably $100 or a couple $100 a month. So, anyways, I was shocked at how low that number was actually. But in the end, I think there's a couple of things that need to happen. I think eventually the millennial generation is going to come in as the biggest generation and make an impact. I think one of the mistakes builders are making is most builders, in my opinion, are building for the Gen X or even baby boomers still, right? They haven't figured out what the millennials want. They typically will take a smaller footprint. Typically, they don't need all these rooms and extra bedrooms and all that other stuff. So I don't think we've done a great job of serving them. And then lastly, reading articles like this still tells me buying affordable housing and renting affordable housing is the best way to go. If your entire rental portfolio is full of affordable housing, you are going to be in great shape for a long time. So in the end, all three of these articles, even though they paint various pictures, they still point to lots of opportunity. Focus below the median, get completely repaired units, get conservative financing, and you're going to be in great shape. So in the end, that's what I wanted to leave you with today. I'm going to hopefully publish this in the morning before we take off. And then we'll come home and we'll have some more videos about what we saw in Fresno. So in the end, have a great day. If you like this video, hit the like button, share it with friends and family. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Take care. Bye.